Hello, everyone, and welcome to the spring edition of Words Friends. I am your host, Sara Matson, and I'm super thrilled to have really incredible writers reading their work this evening. Tonight, we have writers from across the country, and I think that's so incredible because I started this reading series because poetry and writing, it's really my passion, it's my obsession, and it's really been such a joy to connect with words and writers. So thank you so much to our amazing readers that are here this evening, and the audience for being here. Thanks for joining us. We writers, especially poets, I would say, really do this for the love and the passion and the necessity of writing, which is a really nice way to say unpaid. So when you love what you hear tonight, because you absolutely will, please consider supporting these writers by purchasing their books, subscribing to their Substacks, attending live readings or workshops. I know times are very challenging right now, so following and sharing work that you like from a particular author on social media is a really great free way to get involved and just start a conversation and just say like, "Hey, I like your stuff," because that feels really nice. I'm going to be including links to all the author books, projects, and websites, both in the chat tonight and in the description of the video. So if you're watching this later on YouTube, very cool. So I am so excited tonight because reading we have the phenomenal Dani Tauber, Josey Posey, Matt McCarthy, Justin Finley, Elizabeth Joy Levinson, Mike Bagwell. What a lineup. I'm really, really excited. And it's going to be great. Before we begin with wonderful words, I really just want to use this platform to continue to demand an immediate and permanent ceasefire in Gaza, Iran, and Ukraine. Free Palestine. Fuck ICE and fuck Trump forever. Fuck Putin. If you're interested in getting involved, please feel free to message me for ways you can help in person and online. And now I would love to get into some fantastic words. It gives me great joy to introduce our first writer this evening, Dani Tauber. So years ago, I was introduced to Dani's amazing work through our mutual friend slash goddess, Ingrid M. Calderon Collins. So I've been following Dani since the Twitter poetry days, and I've just been continually inspired by her gorgeous words. Vulnerary magazine was a really beautifully curated space and so inclusive, and I miss it bunches. So I'm just really excited to see what Dani's going to do next. Dani Tauber is a messy poet and formal music journalist from Southern New Jersey. She has been published by and in Vegetarian Alcoholic Press, APEP Publications, Resurrection Magazine, and Pink Plastic Press, among others, as well as writing rock and roll advice column Meteo Excore for the Aquarian Weekly for several years. Her first full-length poetry collection, Just Like Soft Fruit, was released by Vegetarian Alcoholic Press in February of 2021. Highly recommend you checking that out. Everyone, please join me in welcoming Dani Tauber.
Thank you so much. This is my first reading in a very long time. I wasn't sure what to read, so I picked a self-release that no one's really read about shitty motel poems, and I am hoping that you enjoy them. I picked four because of my time constraint. This will be over in less than 10 minutes, I promise. None of them have titles either, so this is number one. On the first floor of the shitty shore town motel, I sleep with the knife open under my pillow. On the second floor of the shitty shore town motel, I sleep with the knife open on the nightstand. There's more fucking dog shit in this motel parking lot than I have seen in 32 years of life. Someone burned down the cigarette receptacle. Its charred and crooked spine curls toward the highway, almost audibly begging for escape, for freedom. Me too. Despite the very transient nature of motels, they seem to be fixed points in time. They age, but they don't change. They become weathered and worn, but they'll always remain exactly the same. Unless someone someday cares enough to replace the carpet, the moldy fridges, the dusty bedding. But if the buildings could breathe, I doubt they'd hold it. This will be my last one. It's also the longest. The smoke gets trapped under the awning as I light a cigarette, leaning halfway out the door frame, watching a spider crawl over the eye of a dead bird in the parking lot. The drug dealer in the room next to mine is fucking for the fourth goddamn time already, and it isn't even 5 p.m. Only twice with the same woman. I wonder if he loves them or just the only collateral that they can give him. I wonder if they love him or just the pills. I crush out the cherry. I'm running out of options. I wonder what will happen to me, how I'll end up and where, who'll stick around. The woman who leaves the drug dealer's room is a mess, asks to bum a smoke, asks for a light, asks if that's my natural hair color. She leans up against the wall between rooms and inhales deep. When she notices the bird, she laughs and says, "Lucky motherfucker." I can't argue. Thank you. Thank you very much. I was feeling really nostalgic for the time um, when I was spending a lot of time in motels, not for nefarious reasons or anything like that, just traveling a lot and seeing a lot, bearing witness to a lot. Um, the book was called Double Zero because in a different casino during this period, I hit big at roulette. Um, and yeah, one of my little dumpster baby self releases. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I can't wait to hear what's next.
Thank you so much, Dani. That was absolutely wonderful. Dumpster poems, fucking forever. Absolutely. That was really amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Uh, Everyone, please check out Dani Tauber. She has a fantastic book, Just Like Soft Fruit, Vegetarian Alcoholic Press. Can't recommend it enough. It's behind me. My background's blurred. My bad. Wonderful. Amazing. Wow. Well, I would love to introduce our next incredible writer because she's incredible and she's my bestie, Josey Posey. I met Josey at a poetry reading, and have you ever met someone and instantly knew you wanted to be in their life? That's how I felt. And I had the absolute joy of collaborating with Josey on a poetic scene that we wrote and performed for the Free Stuff reading series. Josey's writing is achingly beautiful, and her voice is a constant source of inspiration. Josey Posey, she, her, is a born and raised Chicagoan who believes in the power and complexities of love and advocates for freedom of expression. The poetry that Josey writes falls under the topics of love, hate, sex, and negative emotions, while mixing Gothic elements such as horror, death, and macabre behavior. Her work has appeared in La Moxa Literary and Visual Arts Journal and publicly by the North River Commission on Buildings in the Community. You can follow Josey's journey as a poet on Instagram at Flowers and Phantoms. Please join me in welcoming Josey Posey.
Hi, sorry, that took way too long. Thank you so much, Sarah. That was beautiful. I love you. I'm actually working on a book right now, and I'm going to read a few pages from there. That's why I keep looking over here because they're scattered everywhere. The book is titled Trying to Float in the Deep End. So I'm going to start with this poem. It's called A Ballad for Pretty Zombies. I remember the day I met you. Butterflies played a score. Our brown eyes would connect, sending sparks to my core. I remember breathing us in, the smell of heaven and spring, things I didn't know I loved, giving the names new meaning. I remember you devouring me. You needed me in your gut. To nourish who you were, the action couldn't have been more blunt. I remember feeling lifted and blessed. You continued to remind me of life. Even when the air became foggy, I can still see everything was nice. I remember inhaling less. There was no air in our space. You breathed just fine. Small clouds meet in a small place. I remember our heaven in spring turning into hell and death. The smell pulling out memory. I could feel myself going deaf. I remember you struggling. I needed you to see. The action taking up energy. Your breaths became heavy. I remember we searched, frantically sniffing for a breeze. All was smoky and dry. We collapsed to our knees. I remember you grabbing my hand, inspecting my condition. You kissed hard and started to suck. To love or not was the juxtaposition. I remember you became a thief, stealing the air from my lungs. When I told you I couldn't breathe, you started to bite my tongue. I remember closing my eyes, taking in the pain. My love for you was pure. I questioned if I was sane. I remember you were done. I was able to rise and move. Air was a non factor. This could resolve the issues. I remember it being strange, translating your smile into a thank you. We realized I didn't need air to live, just my shell to continue. That was the first one. I'm actually going to read the book that I'm writing has journal entries in it. So I'm going to read one of the journal entries. Um, this one is called Being a Whore. He is on the outside of reality. Only in your rom-com movies. He is privileged. He is tall. He is mysterious. He is frustrating. He is vanilla ice cream on the most wildest of chocolate eccentric messes. I want to devour the delicious dessert. He is a liar. He is hard to read. He is misleading. He puts me down because he is Andy. He is comfort full of support. But she is creative. She is drowning in her own sweat of insecurities. She is amazing and truly doesn't know it. She is rough fingers that caress the clitoris. She is the one and only one that can make you come like him. She is jealous. She takes a lot of energy. She wants you for you. She just wants you to fuck her. You want her to fuck you. You want people to fuck you. You are turning into a whore. Being a whore is fun. Being a whore builds character. Being a whore is mind opening as much as it is soul sucking. Being a whore is hard fucking work. Always payment, always bleeding. His consistencies won't work. The bartender is cute. He is home. The bartender isn't he. He is he. He is your life. He gets on your goddamn nerves. He feels good. He is the apple of your eye, the rock in your shoe, the beat of your heart. He is everything you want and everything you want to let go. You still whore to him. You want to be a free whore. So that is one of the journal entries. And then I'm going to read this one. I really like this. I really hate this one and love this one at the same time. You know how you write a poem about someone and then you're like, screw that person, but then you're also like, this is kind of cool. I'm glad this happened. I'm there. Sorry, I'm there. So this one is called A Plead in the Night. I can't stop thinking about your lips. Touching mine, I ignite the memories as I watch snow fall on the shoulders of an innocent and frightened man in the woods. Horse rushed to him in the middle of a pathway. My chest heaves at the imagery. He glides into a dark and gloomy carriage. I glide into the darkness of this euphoric daydream. We sit on our seats of uncomfortableness, breathe in the unbearable, chilling mystery. Our lips quiver on our way to our own tops. Dazed and sound, out of focus, the present just as blurry as the future. What is time? Just like the man, once down, I fear that I am obsessed, but it is says that I am just possessed. I'm not possessed. No, I've been cursed. Oh, but is myself to blame? I lay awake caressing my tender flesh, the scent of my desperation traveling to his nostrils, the despair smelling like a sweet pheromone. And with a whiff, he craved my lips, and with a sigh, I released my consent. Your lips, clouds to the shadow hovering mine, the sight like the heavens in the dark sky. My lips frantically reach for yours. At last, my teeth clutch your bottom lip and I pull you down to the leveled earth with an urge for adventure. Your lips explore the scape of my neck, slowly trailing their fangs, searching for a place to claim as theirs, declaring their territory with a bite. You squeeze my body while you feed on my soul. Between my thighs, you attempt to take me whole. I realize I am more than deranged, and I am terrified that I will drag you down the hell, praying may we never surface back to the soil again. Our bodies melt into one another. Flowers appear as an offering to the morning sun that has annihilated our nocturnal selves, destroying us from darkness to light. Your lips agonize my heart as it recalls the night. I wonder if that innocent man would be frightened by the sight of us. Again, that was called A Plead in the Night. And I'll do one last one. I wrote this after reading Dracula in a kink club. So there's a lot going on in this one. So we're just gonna read it. It's called Glide. A wise, tantalizing, sultry being once said, "But what good are peasants without a leader?" I must agree with my cold-blooded friend. How often must we see failure before we step in and take charge? If anyone could do it, it would be done. So, yet, the task lies with us, the ones who don't need permission to speak. The shepherd to the lost and submissive sheep. If ever down on our knees is never to plead, but to recall, soothe, and control. We are the ones who conduct the conversations. We force the rules. We assemble the weak and the incapacitated. They serve at our feet. They are the ones who need guidance, masochists, needing a constant reminder of their mortality. They want and need to the point of insanity. Dazed in our stature, infatuated with our power, in bliss as they worship, and we thirst. We drink the blood they bleed, the sweat they release, the tears they weep. We drink their willing sacrifice. What's more, it tastes so bitter as it goes down sweet. What good are peasants without a leader? Oh, my dear, old graceful friend, the answer is they are no good. They are a waste. Without a leader, they remain pathetic, lost, afraid, sad, insane, bored with life again. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you so much, Josey. That was absolutely fantastic. Everyone, you heard the amazing words of Josey Posey. Please check her out on Instagram at Flowers and Phantoms, and definitely keep an eye out for her forthcoming manuscript. I've had a little tiny eye on it, and y'all, it's going to be fabulous. So thank you so much, Josey. Whew. Y'all, this is wonderful. I am so inspired, and the best part is we have more to go. I'm so excited to introduce our next reader. Whew. Thank you so much. Matt McCarthy. I'm super excited to have Matt because I've been really inspired by Matt McCarthy's amazing curation in the Milwaukee Avenue Messenger since it debuted in 2025. His work is fiercely authentic and rock and roll, which is something I genuinely deeply aspire to. I'm super grateful to Matt for his generosity and kindness in the Chicago lit scene, and I'm really thrilled to host him here this evening. Matt McCarthy is the editor and publisher of the Milwaukee Avenue Messenger and the author of the rock and roll novel Livestock from Highfalutin Media. He's also the creator and co-host of Highfalutin Podcast. Matt lives in Avondale, Chicago with his wife and their cats. Everyone, please join me in welcoming Matt McCarthy.
Well, thanks so much, Sarah. This is wonderful to be here tonight. And thanks to all the other wonderful artists. It's really it feels really special to be included in a lineup with all these wonderful artists tonight. So thank you so much. I am going to read a little piece of short fiction that I wrote special for tonight. So this is its big debut. It is called Collaborators. Hello, and welcome to your virtual interview for the role of Marketing and Communications Specialist 2 with the U.S. Department of Homeland Security's Customs and Border Patrol Agency. I am Morgan, your virtual AI interview bot. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me today. This interview is being recorded and will be analyzed by additional AI to determine if your responses indicate a high-level match to the competencies, skills, and background identified by still another AI as being critical for success in this role. Do you understand and agree to continue? Excellent. Before we begin, I'd like to give you a brief overview of what you can expect in your virtual interview today. I'm going to ask you a series of questions. You are encouraged to answer each question succinctly and, obviously, in American English. Once the questions are finished, I will present you with some hypothetical scenarios and ask you how you would respond to each. At the end, if you've been succinct enough in your responses, there will be time for a short loyalty oath. Do you understand? Then let's begin. Here's your first question. What is it that drew you to the Department of Homeland Security's Customs and Border Protection Agency? Please make sure to be specific and a little racist in your response. Excellent. Next question. This role sits squarely at the intersection of data-manipulated storytelling, white nationalism, and blind allegiance. How does your background and experience position you for success in each of these areas? Make sure to pack as many dog whistles as possible into your answer. Very good. Let's move on to our next question. Could you describe a moment in your career or an outcome depended on your ability to convince people that what they were seeing with their own eyes wasn't actually happening? And as an addendum to this question, are there times when facts aren't really facts? Good. Next question. Can you describe specific challenges you've faced as a result of the tyranny of DEI and/or woke cancel culture, and tell me how you persevered in the face of those unfair and un-American persecutions? Be sure to sound entitled in your response. And now, our final question. What experience do you have using fear and retribution as tools to influence stakeholders? Please provide specific examples of effective bullying, demonization, and scapegoating. Very good. Now let's move on to the second part of your interview, the scenario-based responses. Here's the first hypothetical scenario. The liberal lunatic Chicago Tribune is about to run a negative story alleging inhumane, dehumanizing, and unconstitutional conditions at the Broadview Immigration and Customs Enforcement Facility. They report detainees, including nursing mothers, pregnant women, and the elderly, are packed into rooms and held for days on end without adequate access to food, water, soap, or menstrual products, and are routinely forced to sleep on cold, concrete floors. What do you post on Truth Social to help shift the focus away from human rights and back to where it belongs, American greatness? Remember to use all caps in your post. Hypothetical scenario number 2. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement agents in Minneapolis are left no choice but to deploy deadly force when a 37-year-old mother, poet, and U.S. citizen is shot 3 times and killed while sitting in her car attempting to flee the heavily armed, masked men accosting her and her life. How do you justify the killing of a U.S. citizen by federal troops in broad daylight? What would you say to shift blame away from the poorly trained, heavily armed agents and their superiors and to the deceased victim and maybe Joe Biden? Be sure to ignore eyewitness accounts and video evidence in your response. Hypothetical scenario number 3. It's a busy Thursday afternoon, making America great again. The Nashville office needs a one-sheeter on the constitutionality of racially motivated traffic stops by end of day. But the office of the deputy director just called and requested talking points on a plan to deploy armed and masked immigrations and customs enforcement agents at polling places in key swing districts during the midterm elections to ensure the integrity of the vote. How do you balance these competing priorities? And what combination of pills and booze will you take to help you sleep Thursday night? Be specific. Here's another hypothetical scenario. The administration announces on Truth Social that radicalized, lunatic, left-wing agitators are becoming an even greater threat to America than undocumented immigrants. These United States citizens who openly oppose the administration, its immigration policies, and American greatness are identified and placed on domestic terror watch lists by your Department of Homeland Security. They're monitored, harassed, blacklisted, and in some cases, they're rounded up with or without warrants and detained indefinitely in detention facilities made from converted warehouses that increasingly resemble detention camps because of nothing more than their opposition and the audacity to express it publicly. It's your job to help normalize and defend these actions. What do you do? Could this finally be a bridge too far for you? Or are you still showing up to work every day, supporting this agenda with your time and your labor and cashing those government checks? Okay, how about this? Elections are canceled. In an unprecedented but not entirely unsurprising move, the administration announces that they will indefinitely suspend elections because the radicalized Antifa left are poised to rig the results. Elections won't be held again until the Antifa plot and the leftist threat have been neutralized. The Supreme Court, in a 6-3 decision, sides with the administration, although there is a fiery dissent from Justice Kagan. The government ramps up its crackdown on the godless left. More people are rounded up in government raids and detained. More detention camps are built to handle the swell of liberal radicals opposing the administration and demanding free and open elections. And America is throbbing with greatness. How about now? Still with us? Still got the stomach for this? Excellent. Thank you for interviewing with the Department of Homeland Security's Customs and Border Protection Agency. You will be contacted within the next 2 or 3 business days if we'd like to proceed with your application. You may now begin your loyalty pledge. Thank you.
Wow, that was absolutely fantastic. Everyone, you just heard Matt McCarthy. That was so expertly done, and to have a bespoke piece for the show is really meaningful, especially one as powerful as that. So thank you so much, my friend. Ooh, that was awesome. Everyone, please check out Matt McCarthy. Read the Milwaukee Avenue Messenger. Please buy Livestock. It's awesome. That was really great. Thank you so much, Matt. Whew, wow. I feel so good, y'all. That was amazing. And I'm super excited to introduce our next wonderful writer tonight. Our next wonderful writer this evening is Justin Finley. I had the joy of meeting Justin at a Raging Opossum Press reading a while back, and I was immediately drawn to how he highlights seemingly ordinary moments in his extraordinary writing pieces. His voice is unique but relatable, and I'm really thrilled to host him this evening. Justin Finley is a writer and cancer from Chicago, Illinois. He changed his plans to join the U.S. Air Force after attending military school to pursue a degree in creative writing at Columbia College, Chicago. Justin is colorblind, but enjoys the effect that this has on different shades of orange and pink. His favorite time is 8:32 p.m. on Fridays. Justin looks to his dreams when writing fiction and to his diary when creating nonfiction and poetry. His work has been published with Jabber, Pest Control, Mulberry Literary, Soup Magazine, Soft Systems, and Mix Magazine. Justin currently serves as social media manager, creative coordinator, and editor at Raging Opossum Press. More of his work can be found on his website, which is justinfinley.net. Everyone, please join me in welcoming Justin Finley.
Thanks, Sarah, and thanks to everybody if I read before. I got a cold, so my screen is muted so nobody has to look at my boogers and plug nose as I go through some of these pieces. I'm gonna work on some poetry today with what I'm reading. I've been getting a lot back into that since I'm trying to do a cycle of making new stuff for every project, and the last one was poetry, so I'm still coming off of that. So this first one's called What Else Can I Ask For? Yesterday, I fell asleep and had a dream on my notebook of a house with a million walls and mirrors that can never break, with a million different ways to see everything passing through that time took. For the world to turn in a new direction and my birthday candles to get their spark back. For the ancient scripture on the bathroom stall to never fade into what the cavemen must have been trying to relay. A shape, a song, and some kind of reflection. For rain to travel back to the womb above. Maybe some kind of miracle, just to get past the make-believe, and more luck to pour from my crooked tooth, living and dying with blood I can choose the color of. For you to step out of your outline, a hairstyle that your boss hates, a tongue piercing to keep up with how life tastes, a shirt that talks when you have nothing to say, for any kind of way to transcend the time. And this next one's called Love and Hate Peace. I was reading Grapefruit and I really liked the way Yoko Ono was giving instructions. She wasn't calling it poetry, so I made one inspired by that. Make a list of everyone you love and make a list of everyone you hate. Go to the eighth floor of Macy's on State Street and lay in the best bed that you see. Put both lists under your pillow and try your hardest to have a dream. If you dream of someone you hate, write them a letter on what it would take to love them. If you dream of someone you love, write them a letter on what it would take to hate them. And then I'll do like a couple more. So this most recent one is very memory based about like just Chicago throughout time since I've been here forever and never left. So looking through a few memories. This is called The Chicago I Remember. I remember thinking the Jesse White tumbling team was made up of superheroes after seeing them defy gravity and somersaults and backflips at the Bud Billiken parade down Martin Luther King Jr. Drive. I remember Mayor Lori Lightfoot and her large suits full of ambition. I remember the corner store on Columbus and 83rd Place being the only grocery store I needed. I remember selling CTA train maps to classmates for extra money in college. I remember counting the painted stars on the ceiling of the Aragon Ballroom while waiting for concerts there to start. I remember pretending my paper bowl was a sailboat when the fire hydrant on our street was open with a large wrench to give the neighborhood kids a distraction from the heat. I remember my sister asking the Harold's Chicken cashier for a bottle of their mild sauce to take home with her when her visits came to an end. I remember footworking in basement parties. I remember a friend using his grandmother's address when applying to high schools to help his chances. I remember looking at miles of graffiti at the Damon silos on 29th and Damon when I didn't have enough for a ticket to the Art Institute. I remember my excitement to see Sue the T-Rex fossil and count her ribs whenever there was a field trip to the Chicago Field Museum. I remember my first time seeing the view from the highest point of Navy Pier's Ferris wheel with a date and immediately knowing I could never leave the city. I remember Garrett popcorn tins being used as storage containers. I remember the most common advice to receive after moving out of mama's house being find a place near a train station. Then I'll do one more, well, a few entries from my first book, which is kind of in the same vein as that, but every entry began with I saw. So we'll go through a few of those. I saw sun-browned grass that made yards resemble two rectangular plates of shrimp fried rice. I saw a Band-Aid floating in the hotel hot tub like the dresser Jack and Rose clung to at the end of Titanic. I saw an eruption of sparks coming from my microwave when I heated leftovers still wrapped in aluminum foil. Many blue lightning strikes skipped over the hot dog and burger patty inside. I saw the entirety of my seventh grade classroom yawn after I did. Is it really contagious or not? I saw a drunk trying to tilt the Star Trek pinball machine to avoid a 50-cent defeat at Emporium's arcade bar. He wasn't even trying to be discreet about it. The least you can do is be neat if you gotta cheat. The player donned a snake tattoo, longer than two Oregon trails that traveled up his arm and around his neck. I saw mushrooms growing up from trees that resembled Marina City's balconies. I blame my love of Jack and the Beanstalk for my infatuation with skyscrapers and architecture. After years of basement apartments, I dreamed of being neighbors with doves and cumulus clouds and everything you could see when you turned your head up. I saw my pants get ripped from waist to ankle while jumping my first fence in skinny jeans. I saw shoes removed and placed in lockers during school dances. I remember the smell of cologne, spray-on deodorant, popcorn, and sticky, damp feet. I never saw the morning paper be delivered, no matter how early I woke to look out of our living room window. I never saw what it took to be considered a genius. Was it studying hours longer than everyone else and being great at trivia? Was it being the first to invent something brand new or teachers recognizing the smarts in you? I saw frogs skipping across the 12th hole at Hollywood Park's mini golf course. I saw faces belonging to people that I hated blacked out in permanent marker in my high school yearbook. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Justin. That was absolutely fantastic. Everyone, you just heard the amazing words of Justin Finley. Please, please check out his amazing work. Scream from Chicago, Illinois is out now. It's so fantastic to hear someone speak about a city that I love and do it with just such beauty. Thank you so much, Justin. Oh, amazing. Wow. Y'all, I'm so excited to introduce our next phenomenal writer this evening, because the next writer is Elizabeth Joy Levinson. I had the honor of being pressmates with Elizabeth at Ghost City Press, where her stunning microchap, Thigmonasty, was part of the summer series. Elizabeth's writing is grounded and relatable, and her scientific background just embraced delectably. I love it. Elizabeth Joy Levinson is a biology teacher in Chicago. Her work has been published in Whale Road Review, Swim, Cobra Milk, Anti-Heroin Chic, and others. She is the author of a full-length collection, Uncomfortable Ecologies, available from Unsolicited Press, as well as two awesome chapbooks, As Wild Animals from Dancing Girl Press and Running Aground from Finishing Line Press. And the microchap I mentioned, Thigmonasty from Ghost City Press. Everyone, please join me in welcoming Elizabeth Joy Levinson.
Hi, everybody. Sound good? Okay. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start and I'm gonna end with a couple poems with horses. Because I was having a conversation with someone today about a quote from another poet that when your poems aren't working, you just need to add a horse. And I realized I saw that quote and I'm like, I have so many horses in my poems. So I'm gonna read one and then I'm gonna read a couple plant-based poems and then I'm gonna do another horse poem. So insufficient funds. I am sorry I have existed, taken up space, opened my mouth and spoken, or opened my mouth and did not speak. I stepped on a butterfly, I stepped on a crack, I stepped on concrete. Someone put concrete down for me to step on. I bought a dress, I did not buy a dress. I did not make myself beautiful with painted lips and laughter. I was unkind. I was a different kind. I was a stereotype. I was the kind of girl who could not hold her horses. I begged for the horses. I left the horses in the pasture. I left the horses out in the rain. The horses were on an island and the shoreline was eroding. I abandoned the land. I did not have enough boards. I did not bring enough nails. I left as my toes were getting wet. I was a good daughter. I sent a check. Um, it's not quite equidistant between Mother's Day and Father's Day, and that's kind of an anti-Mother's Day, Father's Day poem. But yeah, horses. Thank you again, Sarah, so much for inviting me here tonight. Everybody's been so great. I'm a high school teacher. You mentioned that, and it's finals week, and so it's so nice to have a break from that and spend time with writers and poets and words. So yeah, thank you so much. I'm going to read two short ones from this is my micro chap Thigmonasty, and the Ghost City Press summer series. I think we were like the last group, but they're all still available for free. And Sarah's micro chap was amazing. And there's so many good chapbooks on there, and you can download them all for free. They're still there, so check it out. And I'm going to read two of the title poems because there's like a whole bunch of there's a couple of poems in here that are called Thigmonasty. So this is Thigmonasty number 1. To be honest, I'm tired of being asked why I don't have children. I'd like to tell them how the Venus flytrap shoots up a bloom far above the hunger of the hinged lobes and trichomes, how the plant knows it needs moths or bees, some small vehicle for pollination, continuation. But the flower is a drain, a real energy suck, and once it's done below, those toothy, fringed leaves turn black. I want to tell them this. I imagine a mother as always hungry and a daughter as always just out of reach. Actually two more plant-based ones, one more from this collection. So this is Thigmonasty 2. I came across a poem from someone I once tried to take as a lover and failed. So let's get right into it. This is the hardest thing about living, the hunger of intimacy, its insatiability, its constant needling. You cannot make everyone happy. The body with its nerve endings and constant searching. My fingers are not tendrils, not shoots out of the warming soil. Your shirt you wore every day for 15 years, the way you kept it clean, the faint, still smell, the olfactory offering. I'm not proud, the way I tilt towards one light and another, while the sun continues to do what it does, penalized for its constancy. Okay. When I'm not grading this week, I'm out in my garden because it's that time of year. So I think that's like I had to read some plant-based poems. So one more short one, and then I got another horse poem. I said that already. All right, dispersal. I can't help but wonder about the boys who held my hands at skating rinks, who would not kiss me more than a peck on the cheek, and only when our friends begged us to. The boys who wrote sweet notes, who never called me prude. The boys who stayed up late on the phone explaining hockey or a video game or something else I didn't care about. I wonder if they wondered about me, carried off by the wind, as heavy as a seed. We always remember most the ones who hold us too close or too hard. We forget those with open arms, palms face up, soft skin offered to the sun. Okay, so this is my last one. It's a little longer. It's very new, and this feels like a very safe space to share something new. So thank you again for making this space, and everybody else for this just warm environment tonight. And this is called Inheritance. After we boarded the plane, my father tells me about a time he robbed someone's house. He was 15, and he and his friend had just dropped the family at the airport a favor. They went back, grabbed what they could, but when they were carrying the TV set across the driveway, a neighbor spotted them, so they threw it in the air and ran. It's always like this with my dad. These little anecdotes, breadcrumbs or ashes, they are scattered like either. And just when I think there is no story I haven't heard, Another ushers forward from his lips, or we are suddenly inside of one, like the last time he visited, showed up at my house with a gun he found in a hotel room. Don't worry, this gun doesn't go off inside this poem. Instead, he spends several days dismantling it and leaving pieces in garbage cans around the city. When the hotel calls and asks if he found anything unusual, he lies. He revises. One less gun in the world, and now his deed good. The father's history is always a revisionist history, which means mine is too. What difference does it make if I am a Russian Jew or a Ukrainian Jew? He asks me, reminding me the borders are always changing. He might be dying. The cancer isn't very far along, but he's refusing treatment. He promises he'll let us know either way. Of course, he'll know. We are waiting on the tarmac for a storm to pass. I haven't seen my husband in 4 days and I'm tired. The plane shakes against the gate, an old horse in a stable, like the one my dad built in the garage when I was 5 for the horse he bought us for Christmas, giant bow on its bridle, clomping around the tree Christmas morning. We were the kind of Jews that celebrated Santa Claus. The horse died of constipation, mostly neglected after he spooked and bucked my sister, her only injury, a dark smudge in her story, leaving that small fear of failure, the same my siblings all share. Every poem has its own truth, and so too does memory. All of us running always, trying to stay ahead of the story, hooves on the ground, televisions in the air. Okay, thank you.
Wow, that was absolutely incredible. Thank you so much. Everyone, you just heard the amazing words of Elizabeth Joy Levinson. Wow, that was really, really spectacular. Thank you so much for sharing. You do such an incredible job at making these like quiet moments very loud, and it's really, really wonderful. Thank you so much. Oh, wow, y'all, I can't believe we're already at the final amazing writer for tonight. Our reading tonight is going to close with the amazing Mike Bagwell. I had the joy of meeting Mike a few years back as part of a Bottle Cap Press reading that I hosted. And he has since introduced me to some really amazing writer friends like Eb Sanders and Warren C. Logmeyer. So thank you so much. Mike's Poem of Thanks series, with its use of fantastical realism that's rooted in like an inner voice, like vocal expression, it's been hugely inspirational to me lately. And I'm thrilled to know you, Mike. Mike Bagwell is a poet and software engineer. Recent work appears in Lana Turner, Posit, Poetry Northwest, Texas Review, Itinerant, and Annulet. He runs the Ghost Harmonics reading series and magazine in Philly. Find him at mikebagwell.me or playing dragons with his daughters. Everyone, please join me in welcoming Mike Bagwell.
Well, thanks for that intro. That's way too kind. But and yeah, thanks for hosting this. You do such an amazing job with these digital readings, um, and it's just a incredible set of readers as well. Been really blown away. So I have a new chapbook out from 30 West. It's called Poem of Thanks, Swords and the Devil. And it's part of that Poem of Thanks series that Sarah mentioned, which is a one long poem broken up into little named chunks. So kind of pretending to be a long poem. And it kind of like follows the tarot and yeah, anyway, this is called The Two of Swords. Uh, Fuck sight. Don't want it. Don't need it. Hold these two swords and go cut that shit. Fucking cut the moon down. Feed it to the dogs. Fuck justice. Fuck deep thinking. Blind as a sword. Carve the ocean from itself. I don't give a fuck. Misnomer. My friend in Portland, Maine, loves living on the coast, goes kayaking in the mornings with his dog named Boomer or Bower or something. I'm full of names, the wrong ones or the slightly wrong. I can picture his dog at the boat bow, bright snarls of gold and red light caught in his fur. I worry and am as lost as any simple object. I'm pretty sure I've been to Maine, but never Lewiston, or anywhere really. I just meet myself where I've already been. When they x-ray my teeth, they find the Lewiston police budget, all 10 million tucked behind the molars, 18 dead. I wonder if I should call that buddy with his dog Boomhauer or whatever. But the shooting isn't really close to where he's at. Worry is how I become other and distraction/forgetting. See, for instance, how I need a root canal. So they schedule 2 appointments. All roads in our childhood go in circles, repeat themselves endlessly like the rims and voids in memory. When will it be raining inside the raining? Now. I wanted to be human, but kept missing the mark. So I pressed pause on the haunted McDonald's dream, literally said, nah, skip this one, to the white nothingness beyond the big picture windows. But the clowns still approached, guns drawn. I awoke tonguing the sore gum like I could tunnel somewhere beyond pain. Bowser, maybe, though that'd be pretty wild. In character for sure, but still wild. Would make for a good dog Halloween costume. A genocide on. Men setting themselves aflame. The leader of the Jewish community I barely entered, but from which I'm already self-excommunicated, shouting Am Israel High at the Hanukkah gelt drop. Kids picking gold out of the grass. I don't necessarily have the best object permanence myself, e.g. the car passing into the covered bridge might never come out, might never have gone in the first place. My daughter gone in the next. Everyone's had that thought. What if it were my kid, gone as easily as any name? And what if it was the wrong name that I'd given her? What if she doesn't get the chance to grow into it? Oh shit, it was Copper, my friend's dog's name. I was pretty close. Colors swallow everything. We arrive at the ice palace, squad deep. Only a few go in, but all belong. My signifiers sow or snow. My will speaks. I invented something great, but got drained by mythic beasts under strange enchantments. Thanks, though, to my daughter for her advice. Don't forget your legs are a magazine. And don't forget your power away, okay? Uh, Kitra's answers. This is a set up as a Q&A. Who's your best friend? People. What's your favorite game? Danger. Round 2, Ayla's answers. Who's your best friend? My sister. What's your favorite food? Robot, and she says this in a robot voice. I eat rocks all the time. Big rocks or small rocks. I'm the servant of everyone. I eat flowers and rocks. Let's see. Skipping a couple. Abstract machines and vocal signs. I forget how to be wild at the crime scene. I find the perfect middle of my back where I cannot see or touch. The way every photo contains the photographer, and it's usually in the eyes or a window or the red sandstone gouges in the countertop of mortality. Just me shooting my shots being poisoned darts of river, the storm raging down my linear history. Even stone collects scars. I'm already in the body I'll die in. Not a bad one. Now what? And then this is a next named chapter, Reverse Six of Swords, backfill mechanism. With one face, I'm prepared for anything. Light finds me on my own terms, the way I want to be found. A trumpet blows. I rise from the dead like a cartoon, my bones coming together from thousands of miles apart. Beyond the river, the mind is an empty city, ghosts pulling on their cigarettes to form a net of small fires. And now I flow out and in and out, which is just breathing. A feeling arrives in disguise as a physical object, then stands and disrobes in a shocking but poignant sequence. Feelings almost feel, is what it's trying to say. Where are my words rowing to with such fervor? I can't tell you. They're dipping their descenders as oars again, but now into a sky that roils. They're pulling water into the hull. Reverse Six of Swords. At an amusement park, I am the park, saying things in my most fun Hegel voice. Forgot to thank the lazy trees for their shade, and now I'm out floating, swords bearing their blades in the wooden sky. Who in the world loves me? Honestly, that number's growing. Teach us to scale these walls and our desires, to ford these depths. I navigate towards a forest state where I am the forest, reaching out with my darkness slowly. I'm struggling to find the mode where animals speak through me. Maybe I've already said everything, or there's everything to say. Here's something of a gardening poem, echo Elizabeth there. Sun's out. Better open the curtains for the plants. Good thing I'm around, I guess, if you're my plant. My neighbor's elephant ear is nearly 2 stories tall, could pass for a tree. Its trunk is so thick. Even from behind my window, I climb its stalk, wait out the day in the pools of its light it borrows. Square. News of the genocide flows from my phone across every poem, and every one carries grief like seeds in the pulp. And the fuck am I watching on TV with my kid? An existential conundrum of being a square pumpkin in a round world, which is, of course, a classic inversion of rectilinear metaphysics. Hale asks, where's Spooky? Anytime he's out of frame, and bounces when he's back. Subtitles ripe on the vine. This is breaking my heart. Blows nose. Both yell. Both yell. A couple more short little sections here. This is the Yeti. I see the Yeti, Ayla yells at a book. We've lost the cover, and the hardback is a wordless nature scene. Otherwise, I melt into a warm light. My mind, a village, empty of people, and then full. Recall anything at all. I'm thinking of a lighthouse in winter, when its light guides every piece of snow to other worlds. Where'd you go? Are humans ready for the leap second? Is a real headline. Or maybe I've mutated it by now. Can't recall. I went out to eat at the West African place on the corner that's always playing Fela Kuti. Watched trees displace the sidewalk. Swords are active towards the sky, at least according to the Jodorowsky book on the tarot. Yet it feels like I've barely mentioned that old cloud-covered nemesis. Our peace now is merely tenuous, with messages sent through sacred numbers. 6 is the sphere of beauty in the Kabbalah, and that is the house of the world to come. I walked through a door, and you know what? It was just a door. Thanks.
Oh, thank you so much. That was incredible. Everyone, you just heard the amazing words of Mike Bagwell. That was so great. Please check out his website, mikebagwell.me. Ghost Harmonics, if you're on the East Coast. I wish I could teleport to go to that. It looks amazing. Y'all, what a show. This was really fantastic. Thank you so much, Dani, Josey, Matt, Justin, Elizabeth, Mike. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your energy and your words this evening. It's really such a joy to know you. And thank you to our audience for being here this evening. Especially thank you, Danica. I really appreciate it. Everyone, Danica Stegman is a previous guest. Uh, and my parents, hi, thank you. If you would like to read on a future episode of Words Friends, Please find me. I'm Sara Matson on Instagram at Skeletor's Mom, because I never thought I'd use it professionally. Or you can find me on Blue Sky, saramatson.bsky.social. I would like to end tonight with a very, very, very brief snippet of a really lovely poem from an incredible new book. My friend Genevieve de Guzman just came out with Karaoke at the End of the World. And I just want to share a little bit from In Bondage. So please check this out. It's at Jackleg Press. This is Genevieve de Guzman. The unbearable softness of your departure will break me, but only like the blade of an oar breaks the water. Thank you so much, everyone. I am Sara Matson, and Words Friends will be back in the summer. Thank you.